So I made reviews on The Flash, but I made the mistake of doing it where I did it as shorts instead of individual reviews. So I'm going to do my entire review of The Flash in this one video. Now, I know at certain seasons they weren't shorts, but they were in the portrait mode because I originally designed them to be shorts. But anywho, now let's do it properly. Let's start with Season 1. Now, Season 1 was a pretty good introduction to the show. All the characters were so likable, and Harrison Wells, the mystery surrounding him, being like, what is that newspaper that predicts the future for? He can walk? Why is he pretending to be paralyzed? And it's just so interesting to see that happen. And it is just, maybe has a little bit of nostalgia, but it is my favorite season. Now, Season 2. Because I didn't really have a lot of stuff to say about Season 1. And I'll continue going into detail, try and find something to stretch out this video. Snart was okay in Season 1. He was alright. Pretty cool to see all the metas, Barry learning his powers, Barry being like, well, shoot, the girl I've loved for years is with a police officer, not me. And then where Iris was the final person to find out that Barry was the Flash. And then the finale, where Eddie sacrifices himself so then Thawne can die. The Reverse Flash can die. And it ended up not happening. He was still alive. Somehow. I have no clue. How is he still alive? Like with the time, I think, but like future him. How is he still alive up until the season 8 finale? How is he still, no, actually, really, the series finale. That makes no sense, but I'll get into that. Now, Season 2. Season 2 picks up right after, or 6 months after the finale of Season 1. And, oh, sorry. It's early in the morning. So, Barry is coping with the fact that Harrison Wells, the man who murders his mom and caused his dad to get sent to prison, now dead, and he owns the Star Labs property. because Harrison Wells never confessed to the murder of Nora Allen, Barry's dad couldn't get freed, but then, oh boy, Wells's lawyer gave him a little flash drive, which had the confession of Harrison Wells killing Barry's mom on camera. Well, not killing his mom on camera, just the confession of it. And so his dad was let out, and they were really happy having him back and stuff. It was great. And they also have to deal with people from other worlds coming to theirs, from Earth 2. And they meet Earth 2 Harrison Wells, who they nicknamed Harry. And it's a really good season. I might say it's better than Season 1, but my current status is Season 1 is better. Zoom, and the whole thing about Zoom pretending to be a friend of Team Flash, that was really interesting, really good. So that's really all I have to say about Season 2. The finale was interesting, and it kind of foreshadowed Crisis. Now, Season 3. Oh boy, Season 3. Flashpoint, that's the biggest issue I have with this season. So, Flashpoint is where Barry goes back in time, prevents Wells from killing his mom, that creates Flashpoint. And so shouldn't Flashpoint be from where Harrison Wells described it? Or Eobard Thawne described it, where it was 2020, Harrison Wells and Tess Morgan built a particle accelerator that went off and gave Barry Allen his powers. Shouldn't Flashpoint be that timeline? Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm also not drinking root beer. Well, it's cream soda. But and so that's just dumb. So Cisco instead built it, and it shouldn't have been like that. It's like, oh, whoops, man, let's keep it in, or something like that. I assume that's what the writers were like. They were like, oh, shoot, oh, it should be that original timeline, but who cares? And then Barry reset the timeline back to before he reset it to Flashpoint. And the guy called Alchemy shows up, played by Tom Felton, you know, Draco Malfoy. And so, yeah, Alchemy, what's his name? Can't remember. But he, like, gives people powers to, like, something to do with Savitar. I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched this season. Let's just say that he did it so that Savitar could be like, oh, I feel like being nice to people. No, I'm kidding, of course. I have no clue, because I can't remember. It's been months since I've watched it. No. Season 3. That's really all I have to say about it. So the finale was pretty cool, except a bit anticlimactic. The whole thing about Iris possibly dying was cool. No, it wasn't cool. It was interesting. Then HR dying in her place. Now, that's really all I have to say about it. And let's move on to Season 4. Took me a while to think there. Season 4 is definitely an improvement, but it's not better than Season 2 and Season 1. It was to the point where I forgot the villain's name. I didn't remember the villain's name until this rewatch. And Clifford DeVoe being the villain. He should have been a really interesting and good villain, but he was just kind of forgettable. Like, the whole season was kind of forgettable. It was good, but forgettable. Also, Cecile getting powers of mind reading and stuff was kind of cool, too. There just isn't really much I have to say about this season. Now, because of that, let's move on to Season 5, because I barely remember the climax, or the finale. Now, Season 5, oh my gosh, it's probably a close second to Season 3, might even be worse overall than Season 3. So, Barry and Iris's daughter comes from the future. Her name is Nora, named after Barry's mother. And, well, it's pretty interesting for her to come to the future. There's, like, no plot holes there. But, like, the three villains thing being Cicada, She-Cada, as the characters called her, and then Wells? Eobard Thawne? Thawne? You should be dead. Huh? It just kind of felt like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 again. I did not do the three villains well. It is possible to do a story of three villains very well. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did that very well. And so it's just like, why? Like, they had an entire season instead of a 2-hour movie. But they didn't stretch it out. They were like, oh, Cicada is killed by his niece from the future. we're not gonna really explain how she got the time warp. Yeah, this is definitely worse than season 3. And at the end, Harrison Wells is let out because that's the only way to stop the villain of Shikeda. And also time travel is just so inconsistent because, like, okay, so it disappears in the present and the future, which shouldn't make sense. Like, I thought that season 1 season 1 and season 2 were pretty realistic with its time travel, especially season 1. And it's like whole thing about sci-fi. Afterwards, no. It's like I watched season 1. I rewatched season 1 months ago. I don't know when, with my friends. At lunch, and I was like, "Oh, this part with cameras. I am very into old cameras. It's talking about how this mirror could have like a photo negative," and so that was realistic. Like, a bit confusing and a bit unrealistic, but it was more realistic than some other stuff I've seen in sci-fi shows. So now it's just gotten a lot worse like that and stuff. So what do I have to say about the rest of season 5? It was alright. Worst one so far. But it's gonna completely get outdone by the next season. Season 6 is the only is one of 2 seasons, being season 5 and season 6, that I'd say. Actually, no, I might just say season 6 is outright bad. So it starts off kind of depressing. And with the villain Ramsey or whatever, Ramsey Deacon. And my gosh, it's just like, so like he was kind of an interesting villain, but he just reminded me of like a knockoff Venom. I don't know why, maybe because of the black goo, that was probably it, even though he's nothing like Venom. But then it's like, okay, so Crisis is actually coming early in 2019, and season 6 takes place in 2019. But here's the thing, they say much Crisis in between season 6, and they didn't, like, first half was the villain Ramsey, second half was Eva McCulloch, and then the first bit of season 7 was also Eva McCulloch. It's just like, why wasn't she just the villain throughout the entirety of season 6 or season 7? She would have been a pretty good villain. She was more forgettable than DeVoe, though. It's just like, and like with Crisis was the only good part about this, where I actively was like, oh, this is pretty good. But here's the thing, it was so hard to follow, I couldn't even tell who the villain was. Or maybe it's because I didn't see the Batwoman episode because it wasn't on Netflix. Or maybe it's because I didn't see anything else of Arrow, Supergirl, League of Legends, and of course Batwoman. No, it wasn't on Netflix. And so, like, and here's another thing. I watched the show twice in the past, and I only got up to like halfway through season 6 after Crisis, because it was pretty much a slug to get through. But I did it. It's kind of like season 2 Legend of Korra for me, where after my first watch of season 2 Legend of Korra, I just skipped it for pretty much every rewatch, because it was just like, oh, do I really want to watch season 2? But I, like, on my most recent watch of The Legend of Korra, I did watch through the entirety of season 2. Season 2 wasn't a bad season. But anyways, I'm going off topic. And so season 7, let's get into that now. There wasn't even really a climax with season 6. It was mainly, like I said, 2 halves of one season. And so the actual climax is at the end of Eva McCulloch's arc. And season 7 isn't bad. It's not the greatest, though. I'd say kind of annoys me with its mediocrity. So I might say it's worse than season 5. It is. It is worse than season 5. Like, it just is pretty much a nothing season. I can't tell you what it's about, because it's basically a bunch of mini seasons as one. So first was the other half of Eva McCulloch, then it was the Speed Force and the other forces and stuff. And then it was Godspeed. Godspeed, just, I think there's nothing about Godspeed. I don't know why I repeated him twice. It's just, it was a nothing season. Not bad. Not good. I have nothing really to say about it that I haven't already said. On to season 8. Now, season 8 is definitely better than season 5. Thank gosh, I never thought we'd get better than that. But it was still okay. It still felt like a bunch of mini seasons together. I don't really remember much about it besides Armageddon and the finale. So don't ask me, because I don't remember. I don't have anything to say about season 8. It was another nothing season. But it didn't annoy me with its nothingness as much as season 7. And it didn't have huge inconsistencies and stuff besides, well, Armageddon with reverse Flashpoint. So, it is better than season 5, but not by a lot. Now, finally, season 9. Oh my gosh, I thought season 9, they ended with a bang. I'd say this is the first one that finally cracks, like, up to the quality of the first 2 seasons. Like, yeah, the first 2 seasons are still better, but, like, oh yeah, I just remembered something. Another thing I noticed is throughout season 8, there were a bunch of Dutch angles. You know what Dutch angles are? I'm kind of doing one right now. I mean, that's more of a Dutch angle. There we go. So now back to season 9. The first half was alright. Not really much to talk about. Pretty forgettable. Nothing noteworthy. And the second half was a lot better, and they did end with a bang. But again, just like season 8, I kind of forgot it, and I don't really have much to say about it. So the whole Flash series is a series that I like. I'll probably never rewatch it again, though. Because, like, oh my gosh, how many minutes did I spend watching The Flash? How many hours? I spent, like, what, 2 months? Yeah, like 2 months watching The Flash. Man, probably don't want to do that again.